What's up, Moose Knuckles? I say that because that's usually what JJ says, but JJ's trying to help me out with the mojo. Another week where JJ continues to clean up on this show, propped up. Hello, everybody. We're going to have Alex Selesnik. He goes by the name Prop Stars with a Z on the end on Twitter. He's going to join us in a couple of minutes. We'll give you our best bets, whether it be player props. We'll have game props as well, or sides, totals, whatever the hell else it is. And JJ, thank you very much for letting me open the show today. Usually it's your deal. Like I said, if you do my opposite picks thing, like I've been saying, I am the best capper in the NFL. As long as you go against me, you're going to be profitable. Now it's going to turn around at some point in time this season, JJ, but you're passing up a good opportunity tonight.
Yeah, we could talk on that in a moment. I do want to give a quick shout out to Jason at the Sports Keg. I have a little hoodie of his.
I like it.
This runs a little small. I mean, I'm not going to lie. You know,
Oh.
this is an extra large, and it feels like it's a little painted on. So, yeah, if you're ordering, order big. If I could reorder, I would order 2X. But all good.
You look great. I would not want to run into you at night in an alley, though. You look like a freaking mugger.
Is that because I'm just wearing black? Like, what if I got a white Sports Keg hoodie? Would you have that same?
No, then I'd make fun of you like Tony. Oh, by the way, the Niehaus family. Good job, guys. I hope you guys eat hot dogs with tons of ketchup and mustard. They're dressed in all white because of the Bengals. I mean, how ridiculous is this family? They win tons of money. They dress like punks.
I saw the picture on Twitter. I mean, they should just wear "We voted for Trump" on their foreheads, right? What do you think?
Yeah, they should do that. Trump 2020, whatever. That'll be great.
But, no, I love the energy. I am a little kind of disappointed. It seems like every time, the entire Twitterverse is on one side, we lose. So hopefully not the case, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's usually not a good thing when everybody's on the same side. It's usually a good time to fade, just like me. So, but listen, here's the problem, JJ. I'm with you guys on Thursday Night Football. So we'll give our Thursday Night Football picks as we get deeper into the show, because we want to get you all of our picks from this week's games, as a matter of fact. I'm just sitting here waiting for this Broncos-Raiders game. You and I have different bets on that, by the way, JJ, we can get into. I'm looking to attack that game through the air. You're looking to attack that game through the ground. Can you do both? Can we talk a little prop betting theory here? So I like Cortland Sutton over 66.5 receiving. You like Jamal Williams, or Javonte Williams, I should say, over 51.5. What are your thoughts, just as strategy goes, betting both a receiving and a rushing over prop in the same game?
I think it gives you a little flexibility, right? Ultimately, I don't want to say it's unlikely you'll go 0-2, but it's more likely you'd split versus go 0-2 or 2-0. But if you find advantage props for yourself, I can't mind it at all. And it looks like we have our friend Alex waiting in the lobby.
Let's go.
Gentlemen, what's good?
Let's get him on. Alex Selesnik. He goes by the name Prop Stars with a Z. If you search just Prop Stars and you type in PROR instead of props, a whole bunch of adult film stars show up. So you do not look like one, though, Alex. Don't take that the wrong way, my friend. How are you? Welcome to the show. It's Holden here with JJ. He's an OG. He's been running numbers since he was 6 years old. So this guy is not one of these Johnny-come-lately punks. He literally was shanking people in elementary school.
It's awesome to be here, guys. I appreciate it. You guys excited for Thursday Night Football?
Yeah, most definitely. I will say this, Alex. You go down a few notches on my end because Holden. Anybody that I know that knows Holden is immediately down a few notches. I feel like naturally I'm down a few notches in people because of that. But no, it's nice to meet you, and I've heard a lot of good things. I'm excited to talk this game with you.
Likewise, I literally have said nothing good about him. No, I have not said one good thing about him. So who told you good things about him?
Holden's lying. But that's okay. That's okay. But this goes back to the shtick. Like, Holden is a pathological liar amongst many things. With that said, he's a prime 55 years old, and look how much his skin glows. I mean, the guy.
Yeah, it's good. There's nothing like steroids and HGH, Selesnik. All right, let's get into this, buddy. I know you got a hard out, so we'll do this for you. We're not going to talk Thursday Night Football to the end of the show because this runs the whole day. So I just want to get a sense. We've got games going under at a high rate. We got scoring down. Any trends that you've been seeing early in the season? Just 3 games, just 3 weeks that you're kind of starting to apply to some of the props that you're going after right now in the NFL, or has nothing changed?
I think that's an excellent, interesting question as well, Holden. I've actually been noticing, despite a lot of these games going under, a lot of these prop lines are lower than my projections anticipated. And I'm finding that I'm playing a lot more overs this season than I have in comparison historically. Typically, I'm somewhere between like 40 to 60% as far as my action is going to be like predominantly unders, but yeah, this season I've been close to like a 70-30% split between overs and unders. So yeah, finding a lot more value in overs. I think a lot of these lines are coming in low initially, so that's something I've been paying very close attention to.
JJ, that's your cue to talk. I know we don't have guests on very much on the show. When I stop talking, he stops talking, you say something.
Thank you for allowing me to speak on
You're
my
welcome.
show. Appreciate that, Holden. Keep up the good work. Yeah, so as far as props go, Alex, is that something, are you primarily targeting props on a week-to-week basis? And if you are you looking to fade steam late, hit lines early? I know you said you're betting more overs this time of year or this year versus others. Does that mean you're hitting them earlier?
Yeah, so JJ, I'm almost exclusively, I'd say like 98% of my action is on player props. And as far as when I'm getting in my action, typically it's right when the lines release tend to be, the most inefficiencies. I'm assuming that's, similar with spreads and totals. So yeah, I try to jump on as soon as lines are released. And then there's also like a second and third wave of player props that typically, come out late Saturday, early Sunday morning for a lot of these kind of like secondary and tertiary players. And I think there's a lot of value in kind of exploiting some of those lines as well. So yeah, typically the majority of the bulk of my action is early in the week. And then I kind of have like a second push a couple hours before kickoff.
Now, this is going to be a bit of a unique question for you. So I'm interested in your perspective because you mentioned how you're waiting for that at times that second wave of lines to come through. Are you using any tools or any type of scraping of data to figure out where those deltas are in terms of what changed in player props being offered versus what was offered? Or is that like a manual process for you? Walk me through what that normally looks like.
Yeah, so it's a little bit of both. So I do my own projections ahead of time. So I'm basically kind of waiting for the lines to drop. The majority of my prep work has already been completed prior to those lines being released. I'm trying to find the biggest discrepancies or disparities between my projections and, those lines that initially come out. As far as like kind of different data that I hold, I also just try to just collect as much data as I possibly can as far as my process is concerned. I really pay close attention to the closing line value. So for instance, I'm recording Pinnacle. I tend to find be the most efficient book when it comes to player props. So I'm looking at, what the closing line is on a prop that I got, typically 3 or 4 days earlier just to see if it's in the right direction. I think that's usually generally a good indicator if I was on the right side or the wrong side or had a good inclination or not.
All right, let's get into this, man. We'll get a couple of your picks and we'll say goodbye. So what would you say is your most comfortable prop bet for Sunday's games? Because if they really start dropping on Thursday. You can get lines on Wednesday, but just about every game's going to be available by tonight.
So I've got 3 names I wanted to bring up to you guys. Okay. First, Saquon Barkley. I have been incredibly encouraged with what I've seen from Saquon Barkley. This looks like the Saquon Barkley that was a top 5 pick in the draft, extremely explosive. I think 2 years coming off that ACL injury just looks to be 100%. This might be the best Saquon we've seen. I also like the Brian Dable effect for this Giants offense. I like how they're using him. I like how they're lining him up all over the formation. So I like a lot of Saquon Barkley-based props, especially in what should be a positive game script versus the Chicago Bears. I anticipate a lot of volume. I mean, he is the offense. They're going to give him 20 to 25 touches. So he's a big play waiting to happen. So I really like his longest rush prop. It's over 16.5 yards. Ooh. I think he's a great shot to hit that with, expectation of 18 to 22 carries. So yeah, he's basically just waiting to pop off. He runs north to south, east to west a lot, not as much north to south because he's looking for that big play. So really like Saquon this week. I think he's a great bet to see a lot of volume as well. Another guy that I really like, or I think is on the precipice of potentially a breakout, is Elijah Moore. Anytime we're talking about a player with a route participation that is greater than any other wide receiver in the NFL this season, and you can find his receiving line sub 45 yards, to me, there's just a ton of value caked into that. So, yeah, the fact that this guy is running more routes than literally any wide receiver in the NFL this season, he is functioning as the number one option for this Jets offense, whether or not the targets necessarily reflect that, but the Jets are treating him that way. And to me, it's only a matter of time until the targets sort of follow. So I'm very bullish on Elijah Moore, especially finding him under 45 receiving yards in what should be at worst a neutral matchup versus the Pittsburgh secondary that's average at best. And then I'm extremely high on Rashad Bateman. I just think this guy possesses just game-breaking ability. We've seen he's not even a full-time player yet in Baltimore's offense. He hasn't eclipsed 7 targets yet. He's averaging over 27 yards per reception. He clocked the fastest time recorded this season with the football in his hands, over 20 miles per hour. The dude is just so explosive, game-breaking ability. To me, we're looking at his floor. These games have been much closer to his floor than his ceiling. As soon as we see an uptick in targets and usage, then I feel like the spike weeks are going to come. So great matchup as well versus Buffalo. They have a depleted secondary. That game has, I believe, the highest total projected on Sunday's slate as well. So I'm just trying to get as much pieces as Bateman as I possibly can.
All right, so let's talk about this real quick. The Barkley prop, what did you say, was 16.5 longest rush? This is a guy that just cleans up. It's like 0 yards, -1, 82 yards. Why the longest rush as opposed to the total rushing yards?
Similar to exactly what you just described. A lot of he's looking to break a big run. Like he's not looking to pick up 4 to 6 yards per carry. He's looking to take one to the house. The Giants offense is kind of predicated on him getting these big chunk plays as well. So I like attacking it from that standpoint. I'd also lean over on his rushing line. It's fluctuated between 78 and 81.5. I like the over a lot there because I do feel he's a strong bet to receive over 20 rushing attempts. And just with him, it's a volume game. The more volume he gets, and I project him to have a lot of volume, the more chances he has at ripping off one of those big plays.
JJ, anything on Moore or Bateman?
Yeah, the Bateman's interesting. So I was a big Bateman guy. I believe he was a Gopher, right, in Minnesota, I believe. I know he played a bit with that big running back that's still there. But that used to be the entire offense. Him and I can't, Muhammad something, the running back for the Minnesota. He's still there. But explosive in college. He's looked explosive here in Baltimore in a few short stints. And to bring up a good point on his lack of usage, yet the numbers are still there. I assume you'd even like the longest reception prop for him. They don't usually tag these. I mean, you mentioned his average catch, 27.5. They don't usually tag these much higher than 24.5. Do you know what his longest catch is? Is it out yet?
I'd guess 24.5.
No, I don't know. I was more like
I haven't seen his yet.
Well, I guess what I was saying was you mentioned his average catch is 27.5.
Yeah.
They don't ever hang numbers higher.
That high, exactly. Yeah. So I agree with you there. He's just a big play waiting to happen. He's getting his ADOT is the deepest on the team. I'm just waiting for the volume to tick up, which I feel like is only a matter of time. And what's crazy to me is the fact that he's just not being used more in that offense. I mean, he is running more routes than any other wide receiver, but he's only ran routes, I think, on around 70% of Lamar's dropbacks. So I expect that number just to go.
All right, last thing, Alex, I think I've asked you this, but the bear, is that real behind you or no?
That bear is real, and I'll save that for the next appearance. I'll give you the backstory on that, guys.
I don't want to. Obviously, I know. You know, you've already been here for almost 10 minutes, so I don't want to keep you any longer than you have to be or want to be. But any thoughts on the game tonight? Obviously, a nice one. It looks like a lot of the Twitterverse, and myself included, are Bengals. Miami seems to be taking a lot of money in other directions, though. What's your thoughts on the game? Anything crazy that you like?
Yeah, I like the Bengals tonight. I've been encouraged. I know, obviously, not the start that Cincinnati wanted to get off to, but I think we're going to see. I just think this offense is really well balanced. I do think we'll see a little more Joe Mixon than we have Mixon in previous weeks. So I like his role to kind of expand tonight. I think he can find some success on the ground, especially if Miami does place a large emphasis on sort of limiting Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. We know those guys are obviously phenomenal, and they're going to try and keep them in front of them. So I think Joe Mixon can potentially have his best game of the year tonight if Miami does decide to kind of take away the deep ball. But yeah, I'm on Cincinnati. I think they're going to be I think they're a good bet tonight. I like them to cover. Prop that I gave out earlier is I like fading Raheem Mostert. I think he's kind of his 24 carries, 78 yards through 3 games, kind of been empty yards. I think Chase Edmonds is a much more versatile, explosive option in the backfield. They've sort of had a 50-50 split so far, but to me, this kind of game script looks more like a Chase Edmonds game script tonight. I think because Miami could be potentially trailing, he'll be on the field more. He kind of offers more as far as pass catching is concerned. Mostert's more of a first and second down runner, clock killing back. I just don't think this game kind of lends to sort of his profile tonight.
I just need his 180-yard run, and then I'll be happy. Alex, I know you got to get out of here. Plug what you're doing, man. Again, he's got Elijah Moore over 45.5 receiving, Bateman overs, and then Saquon over 16.5 longest rush.
Yeah, you guys can find me exclusively at CBS Sportsline. I write a weekly column that comes out. I also stream pretty much 5 or 6 days a week, all at CBS Sportsline, and you can follow me at PropStars on Twitter.
All right, buddy. Thanks a lot. Take care of yourself, and looking forward to the Bears.
Appreciate it, guys. Later. Nice to meet you, JJ Holden. I'll see you later, man.
Adios.
All right.
Bye, so again, it's Sharp Dude, PropStars, joining us from CBS Sports. We'll try and bring guys on. Mangone will be back. He'll spend time with us. We'll try and bring some other people around the industry on that are pretty successful with this player prop thing, and he's definitely one of them. JJ, before we get into our picks, and again, we're going to give Thursday night picks. We'll get 3 of the best bets from him, my 3 best bets, and then we'll get out of here to Thursday Night Football. But what's up with your dad, man? He's always calling me out in your shows. I haven't talked with him in months. And I'm not kidding you. My mom told me it was a bad idea to go back on shows with him because his mouth is so filthy. And she's under the impression that I'm a saint, that I'm an actual professional, and I try to do things. She's like, hold it. I don't think you should go on with that man again. So all I got to say is mom's not a big fan of your dad. Your dad keeps calling me out. What's going on here?
He doesn't like you. I think it's pretty apparent.
Yeah.
With in total honesty, I mean, I don't think I've ever seen him talk like that about anybody. So I think he might have a crush on you, Holden.
You think he wants it that way?
Yeah, I do. I think he's drinking the Holden Kushner Kool-Aid. That's what I think. The Kush-Aid, if you will.
Makes me very uncomfortable.
And by the
very uncomfortable.
Yeah, well, that's because you're weird. And by the way, though, I thought you did a good job with our guest before. Thought you handled yourself professionally.
Well, I mean, these are people we don't work with, so I don't have to be an asshole to them.
Is that implying you have to be asshole?
Yeah, I mean, it's in my contract. They're like, here's what you have to do. You have to show up to work. You got to talk, and once in a while, just be a dick. Try and upset people you work with to get the most out of them. And I think I've done a good job of that. Daddy's here. Daddy's here.
I don't even know how he would have. You know what? Never mind.
Is that really your dad?
I think it is. I don't.
Yeah. My mom really doesn't like you. It's me that doesn't. But that's great. Minor crush, he says, nothing major. I do like his new sponsor too, because it's all about shaving the nether regions, the ones that we had could nick your sack. He has one that is sack nick proof.
I've had good experience with the Manscaped products.
Yeah, but he says it's not going to cut your balls.
That's what I'm saying. I haven't been cut by Manscaped.
Oh, I did.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it wasn't good.
You have a lot of extra sensitivity down there.
Yeah, it is. It's very soft.
You're supposed to. I mean, just a little hint here. Mano y mano. You're supposed to throw some cold water on those bad boys before you shave them.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn it. All right. It's good to know for next time.
Hardens the skin.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, 100%.
Well, anyways, your dad's selling quite the project right now, and it's quite the product, and I'm proud of him for getting his own sponsor. No question. And that was great looking at it. And unfortunately for you, you have to deal with 2 octogenarians, your dad and myself. I literally could not figure out how to copy and paste a link to send to our guest today, but it was on the phone, JJ. I just don't know how you get the link on the phone.
Octogenarian. I don't even know what that word means. I mean,
it's like when you're in your 80s.
Could put 2 and 2 together, but that's a big word drop for you. That's impressive.
Thank you. I mean, I use big words all the time. You just steal them. So let's get into our bets here.
Good thing.
Again, Thursday Night Football in a little bit, but what's your best? Give me your best bet. Prop bet this week. Prop bet, side, total. We're doing a prop show, so maybe a prop, but give it to me here. What do we got?
Yeah, so I fired on 3 this week. Gabe Davis, over 50.5 receiving, was definitely my favorite. So it was minus 125 yesterday. I'll see if I can pull it up, because obviously I don't want to give out lines that don't exist. Yeah, my thing is the dude played over 90% of the snaps last week. I know people were a little fearful of his injury. To me, it was just a matter of him not being as involved in the offense as he was the first few weeks. Target share will be there. He basically never leaves the field. Game that should shoot out. And even as I think Alex mentioned as well, the highest total on the slate. Diggs has been having big week after big week. This just seems like a nice Gabe Davis week. Again, we know he's on the field constantly. The target share will be there. Numbers super low. I'd expect this to steam up as well. So love the spot.
He did not practice. What was that? Today he didn't practice, but it's an ankle injury. Is that something you're really going to be focusing on, or the bet's in? Who gives a damn at this point?
No, to me, bet's in. And I know the numbers dropped a bit as well. I think 48.5, and that could be because of today and him not practicing.
Absolutely why.
Because, again, I bet him earlier. So, to me, it'll be a win-win because he'll either not play and I'll just get voided, or he'll play and see a plethora of snaps again, much like he did last week. All
right, so I'm going to go with a receiver too. I'm going to go with Courtland Sutton. Now, this is something where I do the Denver City cast here a couple days a week in Denver, so all I'm doing is digging into Broncos stuff all week. It's not fun with Russell Wilson the way he's been playing at this point because I have no idea what to expect on a week to week from him. But this could be the breakout for him. And the guy that's going to be the beneficiary is the guy that gets just targeted nonstop by Wilson. It's Courtland Sutton. He mentioned that they had a big connection in the offseason. They do now. He leads the league in air yards of over 16 yards, which means what? Big plays. He's had catches of over 30 yards in each of the first 3 games. That's sustainable. I don't know, but I know the guy can get another big catch or 2 this week. And I'm looking at Nate Hobbs being banged up. Rocky Sin is going to likely play, but he's not doing well. They're pretty charred in their secondary. Courtland Sutton over 66.5 yards, Dunkel. And I saw it at 67.5. So maybe some money came in on that under, but I'm feeling good about Sutton. This is their number 1 option. And I just don't see anybody on the Raiders that's going to stop him this week. Over 66.5 yards, Dunkel.
Most talented weapon on that receiving core by a decent stretch. And look, Wilson's likely to figure things out, right? Like this team's not just going to snail through this entire season, right? I think overall, I like the spot. I think the number could steam down a bit because it feels like a big number with how Russell Wilson's been playing and how this offense has been moving the ball. But I do think, to your point, that this does feel like an explosion spot for this offense. And interestingly enough, as you mentioned, I also like the Broncos prop. I think Javonte Williams' prop was 51.5 yesterday. It's 53.5 now. I think it's just going to continue to climb up. We know this dude is likely to see anywhere between 12 and 15 carries. And we know there's arguable, to me, as far as a running back with the ball in their hands, especially behind the line of scrimmage, the only running back to me that's better is Nick Chubb. I mean, Javonte Williams is just so good, so elusive for his size, and consistently averages more than 4 yards a tote, if you will. Love the 51.5.
The facts, man. Where is he for the next couple minutes?
I threw his ass in timeout.
You blocked your own dad.
Threw his ass in timeout.
Yeah. Did you just not want him getting these amazing plays, or can he still watch and he's just not allowed to?
If you're in timeout, you just can't type.
You just can't type. So it's not that he's been blocked from the show, because I was going to mofo the guy, but I would never do that without him watching, though. So I'd never do that with him watching.
I could only imagine. I put him in timeout because I want to talk about his timeout when we're on the show together on Monday.
That's what you want to do?
Yeah.
With him?
Correct.
Would you plug that show? That's kind of an awesome show, by the way.
Yeah, the Whip It Out Wednesday. Not Whip It Out Wednesday. It's the show was supposed to be called. Here's the silly part, Holden. It was supposed to be called Monday Morning Quarter Facts that he was going to do at 10 a.m. However, he then wanted to do it at 5 p.m. So I'm like, why is the show named that if you're doing it at 5 p.m.? He called me an idiot for that for whatever reason. Anyway, so then I started joining him at 6:30, and yes, it doesn't really have a show name, but we do talk on Monday Night Football, and we recap our bets for the week, and we typically make fun of each other.
All righty then. Is it my turn to give my next one? Because I only have 2-player props for the Sunday games, and I got one for tonight's game. But I think the next one, if you are with me and you think that this Buffalo game is going to shoot out with the Ravens, then you got to at least look at this pretty heavily. Josh Allen has a floor right now this season of 297 passing yards. He's gone for 317, 400, and 297. He gets a Ravens secondary which more healthy than they were last year. They can be exploited. There is no doubt about it. We've seen that. Josh Allen at 282.5. It's kind of correlated with your Gabe Davis play too. I really, really hope that Gabe Davis does play there. But for the most part, Stephon Diggs has taken the next step to the elite range. If it's not Gabe Davis, maybe it's Isaiah McKenzie. For me, I think we're going to see a high-paced game here. Over 282.5 for Allen.
I like it. I will say this: if Davis doesn't play, to your point, that line is going to drop a few yards for Allen. But assuming Friday's the day, right? Friday's what matters. Assuming he practices tomorrow, even in limited fashion, I'll feel pretty good about him playing again. He played practically every snap last week with similar injury, right?
Gabe?
Yeah, he didn't pick up a new injury, right? I mean,
yeah, no, and I just love the pace of this game. I mean, it's tough not to, right? It's the Ravens and the Bills, man. Last week we said the same thing about the Dolphins and the Bills. I think we get points, and I think we throw it out.
My father just iMessaged me.
Oh, what is an iMessage? I don't even know what that is.
You block your own father? ? By the way, you were adopted.
Fucking guy.
But yeah, I know. I agree with that sentiment. Yeah, it'll be tilting for me if Davis doesn't practice. I'll be honest. I'd rather him not practice versus limited practice tomorrow, because not practicing would probably tell me he's not playing Sunday, and I'll just get voided. But we'll see. But yeah, I do like the spot. That spot makes a ton of sense as far as Allen's yards, and of course that whole offense, to be honest, and the Ravens too.
Yeah. All right. So what's your third bet here?
Yeah. So
it could be a side, a total. It doesn't have to be a prop.
Yeah. Instead of do you want me to give my Thursday night football bet, or are we waiting for that?
Well, we're gonna wait for that. Give me one other bet, because we got our.
So here's the problem. So I bet Mr. Trubisky over 7.5 rushing yards. It was -120. It's now 9.5. You are getting critically close to where this really doesn't have value anymore. To me, I wanted him. I do believe, based on, so he's got 3 runs this year of 6 yards or more. He's done it 3 different times. His total 7.5. I just like how active he's tried to be, especially after he gets past the line of scrimmage. It's a small number. It's a unique spot. I don't think Trubisky's rushed for over 7 yards in any game this year, but it does make sense against this weaker pass rush that if his receivers who are having issues getting separation to begin with, I think it makes a lot of sense for Trubisky to want to take off 2 or 3 times. And if he does, all I need is one of those runs to be 6 or 7 yards, and we get there. So yeah, I really like Trubisky. The problem is it's 9.5, which I don't love as much. At worst, I would go half you there, or wait for steam to bring it back down, which very well could happen. But yeah, I really like Trubisky's legs this week.
You can bet it live too, right? I mean,
if he does nothing. The only part that sucks is first play of the game's
it happened to me last week, Mahomes, right? And I'm like, he's not going to rush for too much. I don't remember what the prop was. Maybe it was like 9.5. Comes out. Quick 26 yards, it's over. You couldn't get in. But there's other bets. There's other bets you could make, other bets you made. So since that's at 9, I will not be tailing you until it gets down to 6.5. And then we'll tell you. Yeah,
it won't get to 6.5, but it might get back to 7.
No. In game.
Oh, in game. Yeah.
Yeah, you drop below that number. Okay. And then I got a couple of bets here that are not going to be prop bets. Raiders team total under 24.5 at points bet at -130. I even think the 23.5, 22.5, maybe 21.5 is in play here. The Broncos scoring defense is just elite. I get it. They're going to try and get the ball to Devontae Adams. Patrick Surtain is one of those guys that's almost matchup proof. Doesn't matter who he's going after. Josh Jacobs should have a tough time rushing in this game. Gregory and Chubb have just been great rushing the passer. There's one thing that you can look at with the Broncos is just their defense. It is absolutely stifling. It's the only reason they're 2-1 right now. If it was up to the offense, they'd be up 0-3. So I think Raiders team total under 24.5 is one. And then I got a teaser too that I'm going to throw the Broncos in. But what do you got as far as a team total or a side this week?
Yeah, so it's kind of a unique teaser, but DraftKings was offering it at 119. I like taking the Titans up to 10.5 and the Broncos up to 8.5. Collectively, that'll be -119. Again, you got to get the alternate spreads. Call that an adjusted teaser. However, like for me, I found that 7.5 as a number just isn't as valuable as it once was with teasers. You get a lot of teams that go down 14. They go for 2 on that first conversion. And you're just seeing a lot more between field goal, extra points missed, and 2-point conversions. That 7.5 to me is just not as valuable as 8.5 and 10.5 are. So I do like taking, and you can take 3.5 to 10.5 at a better price than if you took 1.5 to 7.5. So just some food for thought as you move. You get a better 7-point teaser, better price on a 7-point teaser, taking 3.5 to 10.5 versus 1.5 to 7.5. And I've been doing that a lot recently, and I do like these two spots with both these teams. So yeah, that was where I fired.
Well, I think key numbers have kind of changed a bit too, especially over the last few years, right? So we said, oh, we got to go through the key numbers of 3 and 7 and 10. Well, sometimes it's a little bit different, right?
Yep.
That's what we're going through. But I think the key numbers it's kind of like an amoeba these days, just because of the way the game's being played differently. As far as a teaser, I got the Broncos up to 8.5, and I got the Texans up to 11.5. It's an 8.5, 11.5 there. I like that Titans one too. There's a couple other games I was thinking about, but this is another week, 4 weeks now, where we can just tease the Broncos. 3 out of 4 weeks, tease the Broncos plus 8.5. Texans plus 11.5. Actually, it's 11 now. You can get that at minus 120. Let's talk about the Chargers here for a second, because it's obvious that Herbert, even though he threw for yards, this guy is really limited. The Chargers can't run the ball. He lost his left tackle and his center. So 40% of his starting offensive line is gone. And now Bosa's out. So again, I think the Texans are not a good team, but they're a team that'll stay in it. And 11.5 points at home. Yeah, I got to take it. Broncos, Texans, 6-point teaser.
Like it.
And I guess that would be it for me outside of the game tonight. So anything else you want to get to? You want to get to this Thursday night deal?
Yeah, I'll just answer your question, Extra Sauce, just so you know. I project 2 at 2.5 points higher than Geno this week. It's not a big jump because, to me, Geno's in a really decent matchup, to be honest. I think that the Lions have been fantasy gold for teams playing them. So, yeah, if you want perspective, I don't know what kind of league you're in or how it works, but I do project 2 at 2.5 points higher than Geno this week. But if you need to be different for whatever reason, because Tua does come with a little more inherent risk with his injury on a short week. So, yeah, I don't mind Geno, but, yeah, I do project Tua higher.
All right, let's do it. We got Thursday night football as we're coming up on kickoff in just a little bit. And, yeah, the Bengals are wearing all whites. Now, this line has gone from 3 to 3.5, and it's Bengals -4. So a lot of money coming in on the Bengals here before the game starts, JJ, and I don't think that's a big shocker here. The total is now sitting at 49. So Tua and Waddle were ruled in. Everybody's good to go, basically. Dolphins 170 on the money line, Bengals -195. So that's where we sit. Any side, total, or prop bets you're on, give them all to us right here with the Dolphins and the Bengals. And no surprise, this thing's 4 now, right?
No surprise at all. Now, I did bet Bengals first half -2.5 on an alternate. I got that -135. You get this -130 DraftKings. I think you may even be able to get -120 on FanDuel. The reason why I bet it last night, and the reason why it moved, of course, is because these guys got cleared to play. But the reason why I bet it last night was because I felt like I didn't have much to lose. I felt like if Waddle or them got taken out or got ruled out, this line was really going to start springboarding. And if they didn't, and if they ended up playing, I didn't think this line was going to move too much. And as we see, as soon as they got ruled in, the line moved a little bit, but it moved right back to where it was last night. So, yeah, ultimately, I do really like this spot for first half. The reason why first half is because it seems like when Miami's been sleepwalking, it's been in the first half. I felt like the Bills, so I bet the Bills first half last week, but I don't know if you watched the ending of that half, Holden. It was really weird from Josh Allen. He ended the first half the same way he ended the second half, and I'm sure you might have watched, but where he just I guess was supposed to spike it, but didn't twice. It was really weird. But needless to say, I do trust the Cincinnati offense more on a short week early in the game. So that was where I went with.
I definitely motherfucked you on that one, but you came back and you won me a ton of money on other things. So I don't give a damn. Really. Did you win that bet or lose it? I don't remember. One of those bets. You didn't get everything right. So you got one wrong and then I mofoed you, but then you won it all back. So I wanted to do the show with you again. For me, it's going to be really simple. Evan McPherson. I don't do kicker props very often, but it's like every single week they've been setting this guy's line at 1.5. Noticed it week 1, noticed it week 2, bet it week 3, and I'm going right back to the well. Now the juice might not be where you need it anymore. I got it at over 1.5 -120 at DK. If you shop around, maybe you'll get a decent number there. I've seen around 140, 145 now. But they're a team that loves letting him kick. He's got the biggest range in the NFL. I mean, he's banged a 59-yarder. He's attempted 3 every single game. He is 7 of 9 on the year from there. And I think there's going to be opportunities for him to to get out there and get his 2 field goals today. So it wasn't comfortable backing a field goal kicker because you just don't know when the opportunities are going to come unless you did that in the Monday Night Football game. But McPherson over a field goal and a half. Of course.
And a quick shout, because look, we are on the Run Pure Sports channel. I mean, Anthony Wayne, aka Big T,
the Tone Dog. Oh, his name is Troy, by the way.
Troy.
Yeah, he was on with my buddies at Sirius XM, and they said Troy Niehaus.
Love it.
Sirius XM.
Love it.
So thanks, Troy. Thanks for listening, Troy.
Home Troy in the Print Factory tomorrow. Love it. Yeah, big kudos to him. Uncle T even got in the waters with 27K his way. You'd love to see it.
Oh my God, they just killed it.
DK Goat. I don't know if I love the name, by the way. I don't know if you're referencing DFS Showdown. I'm not sure which one, but I will tell you this: Gesicki's on the field like 30% of the time these days. So take that how you will.
Your dad in the chat, man. I don't know. Can we get him back out? Can you ban him for another 5 minutes till the show's over? Or
why is he back?
I mean, I don't know. I'm just seeing stuff. He's telling me I'm a receiver. Just things that just make me so uncomfortable.
That was what put him in timeout.
That's what put him in timeout?
Well, he just kept going on and on and on.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. By the way, I don't see the Tone Dog in here.
No, he's at the game. Hopefully shit-faced.
Okay. So he's not watching?
You're talking Anthony Wayne.
That would be Big T.
Yeah. That's what you're talking about.
Right.
He's at the game.
Yeah, but why'd you call him out then? I thought you said he was watching.
No, I said I wanted to give a quick shout out to him. He won all that money.
I'm sitting here talking to him, and then he wouldn't even come over and talk. This is ridiculous. This show is a complete clown show. All right, whatever. Best bets here. Give me Cortland Sutton over 67.5. Give me Raiders team total under 24.5. And tonight, McPherson over 1.5 field goals. What do you got?
Yeah, so I have Gabe Davis's over, which currently sits 48.5. I think that number is a great number because it's not going to get any lower, even if he practices in limited fashion. Because again, he's either not going to play. I mean, I doubt they're going to put him out. I mean, he's a big player for them. I doubt they're going to put him out there and limit his snaps. They're either going to play him or not. So I think it's a good option there, 48. And Javonte Williams up to 53.5. Still like the spot. I think it'll close north of 55. And Mitch Trubisky is currently at 9.5. I would only go half you there. I don't expect it to climb much higher. If anything, I expect reverse steam to hit it. So you could also bet that under. I mean, not under. You could bet it over when it climbs down, or like Holden said, hit it live. But as for tonight, I also like Bengals first half. That was what I fired on. And Holden likes the kicking game for Cincy.
As he says with a smirk. And I did tell you on the first half again, so you'll either get motherfucked or I'll be like, yay, and you won't hear either one of them. So it'll be great.
Max, I'd personally play Pierce. And on in the showdown, again, I don't know how you play it, whether it's cash or high entry, whatever, but in your cash, you should play Hurst. In your lower or your bigger stake tournaments with bigger entries, I would play Gesicki because no one, at that price, I don't think anybody's playing Gesicki.
All right, gentleman. Thanks to the prop stars for hopping on. He had Saquon longest rush over 16.5, Elijah Moore over 45.5 total yards. And I thought, what was the other one? Bateman overs. If you can find those.
Yeah, any overs you can find yourself on Bateman.
Yeah. I don't know how to post. I still don't know how to post my bets on the sheet. So that's just not going to happen. Thanks for letting me tell them right now. I really appreciate it. You get a chance, check out the sites too. Run Pure Sports, Run Pure Bets. What's going on the bet side right now, JJ?
Yeah, so same code as usual. Best 25 off, gets 25% off. But, it's a show all around. I mean, ultimately, some new components for us this year are spreads, power rankings, which and Tyler, which are out every week, which you can use to build your own lines. Spread and Tyler also do an NFL playbook for every game where they detail every inch of a game in terms of how they like it, how they're approaching betting it, where they line the game at, which you can also, of course, use for your own betting knowledge. And then, of course, we have our pick sheet, which gets updated. So all my picks are already up for the entire weekend. All my father's picks, if you like the Faxman, all his picks are up for the entire weekend, which obviously includes college football and NFL. And then, of course, you get the Discord access. Obviously, Joey's plays in baseball. Just all around a full circle jerk on the bet side.
Absolutely love it. All right, Joe Burrow's walking in a Magnolia suit. Tyreek Hill is walking in a cheetah, whatever, like. What is that? Long sleeve with shorts things. It's going to be an interesting game tonight, Thursday Night Football. Follow JJ at Uncle Dunkle 3 with the 3s in it. And then me at Holden Radio. Dunkle, you know what to do here, right?
Yeah, folks, as always, gamble responsibly, stay safe, and yes, run pure. I'll be back for Run Pure members on the Print Factory tomorrow, and then on the college show, 10 a.m. Saturday. So I will see you both then, or see you all then. Hope you all, win some money tonight.